Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. In the end, we are quite a few people, more than 20 people joining us today from Greece. Konstantino, you should have a feature on your screen to mute. You should be able to click and a cross would appear on the mic. Can you see it? Probably it should be at the bottom of on the screen or on the right side. Anyway, Konstantino, I don't hear you. So maybe you have it muted already. Hi, John, to you as well. I see that the number of people is increasing rapidly. So people are quite punctual. Everyone hears me well? Can you please confirm? Great. Morning, Demetrius. "30 people already. Good morning, Belis, Lokia, Thanasis. Sorry about my pronunciation. I don't speak Greek. Manos, Maria. It's going to be a great webinar. You're going to learn a lot. Okay, so before we start, I would like to thank you, White Services, our official partner in Greece. We have selected them as the partner who is going to be offering the best game-based learning products in the market. We have them already more than 50 countries, and White Services, they have proven a great history and track record. So they are going to be bringing those products to the top companies and SMEs to take advantage of these solutions, and how now HR is using more gamification elements as well as game-based learning in order to train their employees. At the end of the webinar, we'll be answering any questions you have during the webinar. Although to answer any commercial questions, please email or phone call White Services, Giannis and Asteria. They will be more than happy to even give you demos, arrange meetings with you so they can have a face-to-face meeting with you and explain you a little bit more about our games. Of course, we will also answer questions about the games in the chat. So please don't hesitate to write any questions you have on the chat, in the chat, and during the whole webinar, and at the end of it, we will answer all of those questions. Now, we welcome you to the webinar, How to Boost Employee Engagement Through Video Games and Its Importance in Corporate Training. And the person who is going to be talking today is Christian Erkizia from the US. He's our game-based learning expert, and he will take you through the presentation about game learn. So if everyone is ready, yes, just to answer a couple of questions we have. Barbara doesn't have audio. Can you check with earphones, or maybe, I don't know, if you can check your settings? And regarding the webinar, yes, the webinar will be shared with White Services, and they will be able to share it with you as well, as Yanis just said. Barbara, can you hear us? Just to let you know, a few more people join. Now we are over 30 people in the webinar. Just waiting for Barbara's confirmation to start. Barbara, can you confirm if you can hear me? Okay, we will start, and maybe I will try to help Barbara on the chat. Okay, so now I will pass you with Christian.
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Christian Arquisia speaking. I'm here on behalf of GameLearn. Welcome to our webinar on how to boost employee engagement through video games. I'm going to explain through some slides how to boost employee engagement. So let's go to it. If there's no more questions, is Barbara connected? Hello, can everyone hear me loud and clear? If you could confirm through the chat, just in case we're doing a last minute test. Perfect, guys. So let's start. Did you know the average completion rate of those people who start an online course is only 30%, as you can see? The traditional learning does not engage, it's not interactive, and most importantly, it does not work. People get bored before finalizing it. This means an economic expense for the company, which ends up wasting 2 out of 3 years invested in e-learning training. It also entails lack of confidence of the training department itself. If we continue to offer e-learning that is not appealing, people will eventually lose interest in what we are offering. Today, we will see how to attract, engage, and motivate our employees through training. So let's talk about engagement, so important. The first thing is to know what the real objective of our training is. We go through a moment of obsession in which what matters is competition, without asking ourselves which goal our training must have. Before considering how to engage and attract them, we must not forget what the true purpose of our training is. It's to develop people, our workforce. Therefore, we're going to focus on the real foundations of engagement. So there's 3 key elements which are absolutely fundamental. Number 1, the people we offer the training to are not silly, of course. So we will not devote time to something that they feel is not useful. And it must be useful on a personal and professional level. So the time investment will only be done if it's profitable. In other words, only if it's really useful training. People must not get bored. Many companies are concerned that their dropout ratios are very high, but they do not analyze the reason why. The problem, of course, is not the format, but the content. If we want people to get engaged with training, we must motivate them to really learn and have fun at the same time. We have to revive the idea of learning while having fun, just like when we're children. We have to offer a training that truly teaches as well. This happens with skills such as negotiation, where we offer readings, PDFs, or audios that lead to tests. This type of methodology does not engage because it does not really teach how to negotiate better. We must be careful and not forget our true objective, which is not for the employee to complete the course, but to actually learn. You can achieve great engagement and a high competition ratio, but it's useless if you do not get the employee to learn and grow at the same time. Of course, we have to bear in mind that today's workforce is one click away from any given subject. If they want to find any course online, they simply Google it, meaning it's our job to take time filter through all the options that are given. It's our responsibility to make the content appealing. We need to understand what motivates them, and we need to help them make them better on themselves personally and professionally. Another thing really important, just an example, I just had a call with one of our clients. They told me that they had spoke to the provider. I had an enormous catalog from Excels to leadership negotiation. And he mentioned that it's very time consuming for himself to actually go through this huge catalog. Well, we need to make it accessible. We need to focus on quality. And that's what these points are reflecting on. Quality in the sense that we need to make sure that the employees is not forced to have to go through all these courses full of options, which is time consuming for them. Otherwise, they would just simply go online and Google whatever they're looking for, easy enough. So we need to make it high quality and accessible to all of them. We need to be more proactive, really important. The reality is that we work in a fast-paced environment and we need to use our initiative. We need to take on new responsibilities. So new generation, new rules. There's 3 key points. 1, they are demanding. 2, they are impatient. And number 3, they are interactive. We need to keep in mind that our staff is made up of different profiles and different generations. And yes, of course, we're talking about the famous millennials. They currently represent 50% of our workforce. A figure will reach 75% in 2025. They're a different generation, a group of young people with a way of seeing life completely different from the rest, and the characteristics will end up having an impact on our training. It's definitely a demanding generation, used to changing channels, brands, or products at the speed of a click. They choose the content they wanted to consume at all times and flee from what the rest wants to impose on them. And training is no exception. It's a disloyal generation, so we must be able to attract and retain them. To offer them a training which is really useful for their personal and professional life, we must also make them feel that they are truly learning and in a fun, different, and entertaining way. This is a mistake we have made. Many have thought that e-learning was simply transforming a face-to-face lesson into a set of PDFs, tutorials, videos, or audios. This is not useful because those are not attractive formats for these new generations. They want engaging courses, they want flexibility, transparency, they need feedback. So we need to adapt to this new environment. Our training offering needs to meet these demands. So corporate training is definitely changing as well, hence guaranteeing an effective learning with quality, practical, and applicable content. Of course, that it's fun and enjoyable, and that offers you an experience with feedback. Now, the solution to this challenge that represents corporate training in a very demanding and complex society is the following. As you can see, training new generations. You have to connect training with the personal success. We are very focused on training in those skills that are useful to the company, but we usually forget to think about our employees. It's necessary to offer freedom and facilitate self-learning. New generations are used to looking for and finding whatever information they need, getting what they want instantly, because they have a window open to the world. They do not want us to lock them up for 2 or 3 days in a room, of course. They need to be able to decide when and through which devices to do the training. In other words, they need to choose. So we need to offer multi-device training, and they expect to be offered technology because they have grown up with technology. Therefore, it does not really suit them if we offer training which is completely different from their day-to-day. To give you an idea, studies say that 80% of millennials sleep with their mobile phones just next to their beds. But how we design a training that will really engage our employees? The first thing is to start with the content. It's basic. Content is the king. You must forget about format because format is simply the transmission tool. The key is the quality of the content you're offering. What's more, with all the information available to us, we must bear in mind that we may find better content than we were offering. Therefore, you must manage to find the highest quality content. They want to feel that we have done the job of selecting the best content for them, since that's our job. The content must be really practical. Many consultants end up being too theoretical. People have now less and less time to devote to things that they don't really practice. We must avoid obviousness. Telling a person the importance of knowing how to negotiate in the 21st century is telling nothing at all. You have to explain to people what the negotiation techniques are, share real cases, give them feedback with areas for improvement, allow them to practice in situations similar to real life. And finally, the content must be directly applicable. Make sure that what you are offering has a real application in your personal and professional life. That is content that you can put into practice in your real life from the first minute. In GameLearn, we aim to combine these 3 essential elements. Number 1 would be the quality content that is practical and applicable. Number 2, finding ways of showing that content which are fun and engaging. We do use, through the use of video games and gamification techniques, that's the use of gaming dynamics in training, like rankings, challenges, tests. What we build is engaging stories and adventures. Number 3, when we did face-to-face training, everybody took for granted that learning by doing was essential for the effectiveness of learning. But when we switched to online training, we forgot about that and avoided that responsibility. In GameLearn, what we have built are simulators which allow the student to learn while they practice and receive feedback for improvement. And they do it in a safe environment with no risk, stress, or cost for the company. This is a combination what we have named game-based learning. So to repeat, it's practical courses, gamification techniques, and simulation, as you can see. Those are 2 terms that are very used nowadays, but which may generate confusion if we don't know their meaning. So gamification is the use of gaming techniques and training, as we said. So to refer for ranking, badges, levels, competition. That is gamification, and it doesn't teach on its own. It's a tool that helps to achieve engagement, it attracts the student, and to make them enjoy and have fun. In other words, gamification are the fun elements used to make someone do something that probably didn't want to do, actually. And the other big component, game-based learning. As we said, gamification on its own doesn't teach anything. It makes you want to have more, it hooks you on something, but it doesn't really teach anything. What makes go beyond and have the term game-based learning is the combination of a video game, a course, and a simulator. If I ask a person to drive a car in a game, what I'm doing is using that game to develop their driving ability. If I use a simulator for a pilot to drive a plane, what I'm doing is using that game to develop the ability to the pilot to be able to pilot that plane. So they're two different tools we're using in training, but neither is an end in itself. That is, they are tools at our disposal with a different goal. So the big question, does it work? So more than 70% of companies train employees through video games. This is according to the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, that reflects that 70% of companies offer employees some form of training through video games. It's no longer a question of whether it works or not. The question now is, how do we implement it into our businesses? It's no longer a trend, and it's definitely a reality. So the value of the market, as you can see, is expected by 2022, more than $8 billion US dollars. So quite a lot for sure. Game-based learning has become the trend with the highest growth rate in the world, followed by mobile learning. On the other hand, it is surprising that the traditional e-learning is the one that has the greatest setback ratio. The problem, we've discussed it before. Traditional e-learning does not guarantee engagement because it's usually boring. And therefore, we are looking for new formats that will allow us to solve it. Therefore, game-based learning is creating its own sector. More and more studies are emerging that demonstrate why video games have become a powerful learning tool. So basically, what we have are 5 different products that cover most of the skills that the company needs today. Each course of GameLearn is designed to cover several core competencies, and they are also capable of delving into transversal skills, developing up to 26 soft skills overall, that you can see reflected in this slide. So now we're going to go ahead and show you some few trailers of our best serious games. We're going to start with 2100. So 2100 is a futuristic adventure in which the user travels forward in time to begin from zero in a huge corporation. 2100 is the first simulator in the market specializing in developed customer service skills and recreates up to 27 real situations to work on a total of 17 skills. So we're going to go ahead and show you the trailer for 2100. So that was 2100. Now we're going to go ahead with Pacific, and personally one of my favorites. So it's a survival adventure that challenges a student to escape with a team from a desert island where they are stranded following a crash. The chances of escaping with their lives will depend on the student's ability to manage and motivate the team. Pacific is an online course based on a simulator that recreates real-life leadership situations so that users can practice their leadership skills and manage teams effectively. Here we go. So that was Pacific. Amazing, right? And next trailer we're going to see is Merchants. So Merchants is a unique learning experience. It's set in the 15th century of Venice. The student's role is to become the greatest merchant of the age. Merchants is an online negotiation course. It's based on a simulator that recreates 6 real cases of negotiation in which the student applies his or her skills to negotiate, communicate a proposal effectively, and resolve conflicts. So here we go. Enjoy.
Become a 15th century Venetian merchant and build a maritime trading empire. Travel to ancient Venice and meet Leonardo da Vinci and Machiavelli. Negotiate funding. Hire sailors to help you on your adventures. Meet with Genoese diplomats and share shipping lanes. Even hold secret negotiations with the Papal States Emissary on invading Florence. How you handle negotiations determines the wealth at your disposal to acquire ships and establish lucrative trade route. Compete to be the most successful merchant and build the largest palace in Venice. The great Lucio Ricci mentors you throughout this thrilling adventure. His lessons are packed with the content of a comprehensive negotiation course and help you overcome the challenges you'll have to face. Learn negotiation tactics that you can apply in your personal and professional life with the most advanced negotiation simulator in the market. Da Vinci, Machiavelli, and many more await you in Renaissance Venice to help you learn negotiating skills that are vital throughout your life. Are you ready to learn?
So we're back to the 21st century. And now we go to the future. We're talking about Ada. In a post-apocalyptic world, the student encounters in this adventure packed with challenges, tests, and obstacles in which knowing your company becomes vital for achieving the great objective, saving humanity. Ada is proficient in converting any communication, training, employee onboarding process into an exciting and fun experience capable of involving all employees. Here we go. Welcome back. So now our latest game, it's one of our latest games, Triskelion. So it's a safeguarded secret by the Order of Wisdom to disclose the most comprehensive time management system ever. Here we go. Enjoy.
In the 1st century AD, Lucius Annius Seneca left a great legacy for humanity. This Spanish philosopher and statesman, born in Cordoba, discovered the secret to success, wealth, and happiness.
We steal time from ourselves, let others steal it from us. And this is because we don't realize that our time is our life.
Orator, writer, lawyer, and philosopher, Seneca was a senator who led the Roman Empire for 5 years, a time of exceptional prosperity. His secret has been preserved for 2,000 years by the Order of Wisdom, whose members have refined and improved it to create the most complete time management system in history.
In Celtic culture, the Triskelion represents wisdom and continuous learning. This is why Seneca and his disciples chose it as their symbol.
During this adventure, you will become Professor Robert Wise and have the opportunity to learn and practice with the most advanced time management simulator on the market.
My name is Marie Laforette. I want you to help me find the treasure of the Order of Wisdom.
The burial chamber of the tomb at Newgrange is dark all year round. Only during the winter solstice will the sunlight penetrate the chamber to illuminate the symbol that will help you find what you are looking for.
The world is full of enigmas you will have to resolve in order to discover the lost treasure. Decipher the messages and interpret the clues left by the great master leading to the hidden secret of the Order.
And we are back. Hopefully you enjoyed those 5 trailers. Amazing Triskelion, right? So after more than 10 years of experience, you can see the results have been very encouraging. It's been hard work. We have managed to reach more than 2,000 corporate clients worldwide in more than 50 countries, as you can see. These clients belong to any sector and are usually large companies. But the most important thing is that the results we obtain have been obtained in any sector, any type of organization, profile, department, ages. The highlight of all is that we have achieved these results in a training which lasts for more than 10 hours. Achieving a competition ratio up to 92% in some of our courses says a lot about everything we have achieved. There you can see competition, applicability, average evaluation, and recommendation. And here you can see some of our clients that we work worldwide, as we said, in more than 50 countries and growing. Well, thank you very much for everyone for attending this webinar. We're going to start a Q&A, and we will respond to all your questions. And no, thanks for your time. Have a great day, and let's have fun learning again. Cheers.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. So as you can see, we have many games that develop many different soft skills, up to 26 soft skills. And we actually even have more games. These are just a few that we showed to you. So now what we are going to do is please write your questions. I'm sure you have many questions about the games, the implementation, how long does it take to complete one game, and I will be answering those questions over here. So I'm just going to go through the questions you have in the chat already, and of course I will add some more comments about it. So going down, well, thank you, John, about your nice comments about the graphics. And in terms of who made that video, all the videos are, all the games are done in-house here in our office, in our head office in Madrid. We have the best producers and art designers coming from all over the world. They have studied in the best universities, and now we are developing these games for us. So everything is done in-house. In terms if we provide them with Greek subtitles, at the moment we don't have them with Greek subtitles. However, we have them with English subtitles, so it can be easier for you to play the game, so that way you can focus on it. So, but I mean, there might be a plan to bring the Greek subtitles to the game, but currently you could take advantage of these English subtitles. In terms of Giannis, of course, yes, we do have the game you saw, the futuristic version. The content, we also have it with the official GDPR new law, which has been approved by one of our German markets who works with all the central banks in Europe. So that version is also available. So if you have to train your people, your employees, according to the new data protection law, we have that content available within our Ada game. So people can actually have fun while reading a legislation. And yes, our games can be also integrated through different platforms or LMS, such as Moodle, SuccessFactors, and many others. In terms of, according to Konstantin's questions, our platform, the way you play our games, you don't need to install anything. You only need access to a laptop or even a tablet and internet access. But yes, you don't need to install anything. You just need to tell White Services, Giannis and Asteria, when you would like to start and who will be doing the courses. And in a matter of a few days, you can have the game running. One second, I'm getting a lot of questions. In terms of the interaction that FSAC asked me, so the user will be taking the main role of a character within the game. So for example, in merchants, you will have to negotiate with different merchants during the game. So you will have different aspects or different options in order to send a proposal to the person you have in front of them. And regarding of the path, depending on the path you are choosing, you will get a specific individual feedback about those interactions. So maybe the feedback will tell you, you could have sent or you could have provided a better proposal. The proposal was good, but it can be improved. And of course you will get, they will tell you why it wasn't good enough. They will tell you this works better because of this and this and this. So you will have different interactions according to the options you chose. So what I suggest that you do is that you meet with Giannis and Asteria, and they will run with you a video demo. So that way they can show you how each of the games works, just seeing maybe 20% of the game to see how those interactions work. But yet, yes, the user will receive personalized feedback according to their options or the path they chose during the game. In terms of Panagiotis, we can customize some of our games, such as Ada. So if you want a specific content, for example, about safety, you can include your content within our game. And of course, you can add some questions. You could have a quiz at the end of each lesson. So you can have your personalized content, or in terms of your academy, within one game. So you will have your high quality content with as well the graphic adventure to engage your employees or students. So yeah, that's feasible. So in terms of Hadi's question, how is the gamification approach received by employees of generations earlier than millennials? I guess you mean older than millennials. We actually are, the average age of the people who play our games is 38 years old, which means that people who are even not very used to using video games are comfortable with them. Actually, we have a success story by one of our clients, Man & Track, which is a multinational. They were in the beginning concerned that they would, because they had an elder generation within their employees, and they were a little bit concerned about them playing a video game. They launched a pilot, and actually the results were so good that actually the older people in the company were doing even better than millennials. And we have a case study by them where they explain that situation on a video. So if you want, Haris, what I suggest is that Giannis and Asteria share that video with you. It's by Man & Track, one of our clients. In terms of Lokia question, how long does every game takes? It depends on the game. For example, we divide our games, so to say, in big games and shorter games. So the big games, usually it takes up, like if it was 2 days of training, about 10, 12 hours. And then the shorter games, they last about 6, 7 hours. So it depends on the game. Of course, there are different costs. The longer game is a little bit more costly, while the other one is a little bit cheaper. So it would take between 1 day or 2 days, full days working on the game. However, we give you, by default, 4 weeks to complete the game, because we understand that certain corporations, they cannot have their employees playing the whole day, our games. So we give that flexibility to the user to play our games within 4 weeks. And of course, they can access as they wish. And when they exit the desktop or the game, they will continue as they left it, since the game saves it by itself. Let's see. Penny, have you made e-learning on compliance topics? For example, code of content. We don't have at the moment on compliance topics. However, if you wish and you have those topics or that content, you can add it to our game Ada. So if you have any content that we don't provide, you can add it by yourself. So that's an option. Of course, every year we develop new games, and compliance topics is one of them. And so maybe by next year, we will launch something related to that. But currently, we don't have it. You can add that content if you have it. In terms of the customization in ADA, you can add up to 25 turns, which means that you can add up to 24 content. The content could be in any type of format, so you could add in any stage. For example, a PDF, a video, an audio, just text or slides. So all of that content would be added within Ada, so that way it's even more interactive. And at the end of every turn, which we have 25, you would have a test. So users, they will have to pass the test in order to go to the next level. So that way you make sure that people are actually reading and applying that content within the test and the quiz. And that's another way of evaluating the users, to see if they are actually learning while taking in that content. So as well, we have a team, a customer success department, and that those people will be helping you in terms of the personalization of Ada. So they will suggest you, for example, okay, I suggest you that you don't have more than 3 or 4 pages per turn. So that way a user doesn't have to spend 1 hour or 30 minutes just reading 10 or 15 pages. So we have suggestions for you. Same with the video. For example, we don't suggest that you upload videos or you share videos that last more than 3-4 minutes, in order to keep the user engaged. So we have suggestions. Of course, we go more into detail once you confirm that you want to go ahead with Ada. And of course, we will have a team with you working hand in hand in order to have the best customization. In terms of Constantino's question, are the games single player? Every person play by itself. However, they will play in a group. So usually what we have is we have or classes between 25 and 50 people. They will play, they will be competing in terms of the rankings, the points, the awards, but of course the feedback will be personalized for every single user. So every single user will make their own choices, and of course they will receive their own feedback, because at the end of the day, we want the user to get the most out of the game. But at the same time, we want them to compete and be engaged with, because if they know their colleagues, their co-workers, they will be more engaged if they are competing against each other, because they want to do better than the others. In terms of the cost, I will leave that to White Services. You can arrange a meeting with Asteria and Giannis. We have different ranges, because of course the more you buy, the more licenses you buy, the cheaper will be for you. So that's better if you discuss it with White Services. But just to let you know, the cost that you pay here includes everything. The support, the technical tests that we do. You don't have to install anything. People, of course, they don't have to leave their offices to any other locations. So you are saving time, and of course you are saving cost. So that's something that you should keep in mind. In terms of Constantinos, if there is a trial account, Asteria and Giannis, they can also offer you video demos for you to try the games. So please contact Asteria and Giannis in order to get those trials and those video demos. I'm sure you will enjoy them very much. And of course, we have as well many testimonials from clients. Please ask Asteria and Giannis to provide you those from any company. We have 20 or 30 testimonials from different corporations across the world. Of course, we don't have in Greece, because we have just opened GameLearn to Greece recently through Gianni and Asteria, but hopefully you will be one of those, so we can do a testimonial and a case study with you to show it to the rest. In terms of John's question, do you collect players' data to track their learning habits? We have at the end of the game a survey for each of the users. That survey will be completed by the user in terms of course, comments and feedback, but of course we will collect and we will ask them questions such as, was this applicable to your job position? Would you recommend this? Do you think this is useful for you? So we have different questions, and at the end of the game, once everyone finishes, you will receive, as the head of the human resources, you will receive the final report with all those comments as well as data. But of course, I mean, as I said to you, a way to measure the learning habits is just by having the user finishing the game. Because if they finish the game, that means that they have applied that content along all the stages of the game. Because if they haven't applied and they haven't learned it, they wouldn't be able to finish the game. So that's a great way to measure the learning habits, because as you know, training is very difficult to measure, because how do you know that a person is learning or it's actually listening to a coach or a face-to-face training? It's very difficult, right? So that's a good way to measure it, even though it's a little bit abstract. And continuing with your question, yes, time playing, for example, time playing number of entries. Yes, you will have all that information at the end of the game. You can see how long a person spent playing the game, when they started in the beginning, and when they finished. Continuing with other questions. In terms of if it's compatible with EDX e-learning platform, we would have to check with IT. Usually we work with any type of LMS, so it shouldn't be a problem. But of course, what we do is that if we are not talking about Moodle or Success Factor, which are the ones that we use the most, we can always talk with IT and get in touch with your IT department to see if it's feasible, how much time it would require in order to do that integration, so that we would go more in depth in terms of technicalities. So this is better if you speak with Giannis as well as Asteria to see what your needs are, because maybe you won't need actually to integrate our games within your platform. We can just do single sign-on, which means that people will click the link within your platform, and without the user knowing that they are leaving your platform, they will access our game. So it's actually easier that way, and many of our companies, our clients do it that way. So we have different options in order to integrate our games within other LMS. And in my opinion, the single sign-on is the easiest one, and of course the quickest. So of course we do more complex integrations or more advanced integrations, but for many top companies, single sign-on works just fine. So these are things that we can of course talk about. In terms of Constantina question, can we use these games in order to measure talent and potential depending on the reactions? I guess you mean when you are recruiting people and hiring people. In terms of that, we don't do it. What we do with our games is to develop soft skills. We don't actually measure talent. What we do is that through our platform, we combine, as Christian said before, gamification elements in order to engage people. Of course, high quality content taken from the different resources. For example, Merchants was taken from the Harvard method, win-win situations, others through interviews with top CEOs from top corporations across the world. And then, of course, we have the simulation part, which in my opinion is the best one, because it's very difficult to get personalized feedback for each of your employees, because most of the time, or the traditional learning has been through coaching or having 50 people, 20 people in a room with a trainer. But how can you measure that they are paying attention and they are actually learning, or then actually practicing with that coach? So here you have actually a simulator with focusing on this specific person and giving a specific feedback for that. So I think that's the largest advantage of our games. FSAC asks, what is the average duration of game e-learning? As I said before, it depends on the game, but the largest games, they last about 2 days of training, which is about 10-12 hours. Of course, we are talking about hours being in front of the laptop playing. You can stop and then you can continue afterwards. And the shorter games, they last about 6-7 hours, which could be like having 1 day training. John asks how to achieve accessibility to people with learning disabilities, if possible. It depends on the disabilities. I mean, we do have subtitles, so that would help employees with hearing problems. So it depends on the disability. I mean, if you can talk with Asteria and Giannis and ask them specifically what you need. Of course, in terms of mobility, you don't need those people to be mobile. They can just be seated in front of the laptop. So that makes things easier for those people as well. I believe you can, of course, increase the size of the screen. So for people who have some visual issues, it could be, of course, helpful. But yes, please ask more specific questions to Giannis and Asteria, and they will be able to answer you specific to those needs. Then you also ask for a company with 15 people in their personal, for example, the pricing policy is per user or pay once for certain time period. So the pricing policy is pay per user, so one license per person to play the game once, and they will have access to play the game for 4 weeks period of time. Of course, if you need to extend that time, that's not a problem. We can also extend for 1 or 2 more weeks, because we understand that companies sometimes, it coincides with vacations, people get sick, bank holidays. So we are flexible, even though the standard time to open a class would be of 4 weeks. And the reason why we have 4 weeks is because, as you can imagine, if we give 1 year to people to play one game, most likely they will leave it to the end. They will forget about it because they will think, oh, I have 12 months to do this game, so I will do it when I have more time. But as you know, everyone thinks that they will have more time later, but at the end they will never do it. So in our experience, I mean, we have our games for more than 10 years now. We have realized that the shorter period of time we give to the clients or to the users to play the game, the more success we'll get. It will be more successful because they will be committed to the game during that period of time. But of course, if we have to extend, we will extend. But by default, it will be 4 weeks. Do you create the instructional material on your own, or some educational organizations provide it to you? It depends. So as I said before, merchants, we have taken it from the Harvard method, which is the structure, but of course, all the conversations, the interactions have been created by ourselves in-house. Then for the GDPR content, we got it from our partner in Germany, which actually offers all the compliance and all the laws to the central banks in Europe. So it's a very prestigious organization within Europe. So we got that content through them, which is valid by them and with their stamp. And then other content has been developed by ourselves by doing hundreds of questions to top executives from top organizations or top retailers. So it depends on the game and the necessities we have. Of course, if we are talking about compliance or legal terms, we have to go through a specific company or institution, as we did with the GDPR game. So it depends. But yeah, we get our material from the different sources, but mostly we create it in-house. Of course, Ada, the game that you can customize 100%, the content would come from you, because it's content that that you want to use in order to train your people. So we won't have access to that. One second. Constantine, I mean, also for our current employees, in order to check what competencies do they need to practice, what I suggest is that Yanis and Asteria, they share with you our corporate brochure. In the corporate brochure, you have all the competencies that each of our games developed. So there, of course, every game is focused on a specific soft skill. For example, merchants develops negotiation skills, but at the end of the day, it's also developing communication, delegation, conflict resolution. So it develops more transversal soft skills. Same with Pacific, it's on leadership and team management. So you will have to learn as well how to communicate with others, how to give feedback. So there are many other skills involved. So please, Yanis and Asteria, I suggest that you send to them, to all of them. Of course, as you say, the synopsis of each of the courses, as well as the corporate brochure, where you have as well more information about each of the games and what skills are specifically developed. Any other questions so far? We can have 5 more minutes if you have any other questions. In the meantime, I suggest something else with you. I mean, our games, they have a whole procedures in order to be put in place. So we will provide you as well with a support on a daily basis. So you will have access to our support team. So let's say that, for example, someone doesn't receive the welcome email to access the game. So we have a chat or either a support link in order to ask someone from our team. We have more than 10 people who can speak German, French, English, and Spanish, who can help you in order to recover that email. Let's say that one of your employees, they get stuck on a specific stage of the game or on a specific level. They can ask them for suggestions, how to pass to the next level, or what is the game specifically asking that they cannot find the solution, or simply that they get blocked, maybe the screen goes black, or like they cannot access the game. So we have as well IT people who can support those people, and everything is included within the package. So once you decide to go ahead with our games and to implement them, pretty much you can you don't really have to do anything. Everything is done by GameLearn, and of course you will receive weekly reports about how all the users are going, depending as well of how many credits or how many licenses you purchase. You will get a higher service, sort to say, more basic service or a premium service. So you can get even a consultant helping you more in depth according to your needs. So they are different services that we offer at different levels as well. Of course, Yanis and Asteria will be more than happy to answer all those questions. But yeah, it's a very complete package what we offer here at GameLearn. If you don't have any other questions, I will be closing the webinar in the next minute, and then I will send the recording to Yanis and Asteria so they can send it to you as well. So maybe you can share it with your colleagues. Well, thank you very much to all of you. It's been great having all your questions. I've seen that pretty much no one left the webinar. So I guess you enjoy it. And of course, just by seeing the trailers, it's been, you can see that it's something very innovative and something very new that hasn't been implemented by any other company. We are at the moment the most awarded company in the world, mostly by American organizations. And I hope you can start trying it in Greece. I'm sure it will be a success there as well, because it's working very well already in other markets within the Mediterranean, in Europe, as well as many others. So thank you all, and have a great day.